these are the things that I sit back and I study, and I try to compare them with other videos that I've done at pretty much the same height perspective. But of course, you got um, like sometimes the tide's higher, sometimes it's lower. But I've got to try to find the videos that kind of match up with each other as far as perspective height, and then compare them to days when there's hardly any waves compared to days where they're rough. It's the wave height is much higher in comparison um, to the ones that I compare them to. you know, uh, it's really hard for me to put it into perspective, Ben, and that's been my problem. Is maybe I just got too many observations that I've made for myself. I don't know, but trying to dig stuff out of my files and do videos on them, it takes me forever because sometimes I get really lost in my observations where I get amazed with the differences from one day to the next, the different combinations of effects that occur. I mean, I could even show how this looming, or all right, let's not use the word looming. Let's use magnification or lensing. I know people think that looming's a shill word, but if you go by Rob Shakiba, he uses the word looming, which scientifically they use looming, but you know, uh, but again, it's hard for me to pull all this stuff out and then make video on it. But you can obviously see these waves blocking out this boat, which is close to me. So you can imagine a boat that's much further out, even if it's a bigger boat. These waves are going to block out the lower hull of the boat. And then you got to think about when these big boats are in that mirroring zone, how much these waves are blocking out. But the thing is, and when they're in these mirroring zones, you don't get to see the waves because that's part of that mirroring. It's mirroring above it, or well, beyond the boat and in front of the boat. So you no longer get to see the waves, but those waves are still blocking out the boat no matter how you look at it. Because if this boat can be blocked out by just these waves, and this isn't even really, I mean, this is rough. This is closer to shore. So you can imagine what the waves would be like offshore. Um, you listen to the weather report and they say, light chop, inland, inshore, and then, 4 to 5 foot waves offshore. So, having knowledge firsthand myself of being out on the water and seeing how the winds, the tides, the currents all play a role in, everything really. Again, like if you've got a high tide and the wind's coming offshore, blowing it inland, of course we'll get a higher tide than what's actually expected. I mean, like on my tide chart, it might say, a 2 foot high tide, but it could wind up being a 3 foot high tide depending on which way that wind blows. I was in a fishing tournament one time and the wind came out of the east for 2 days straight. And I mean, even in the middle of the night, it was still blowing. I woke up and casted my line out. It was pitch dark out, and all I heard was foam. And looked out there, turned on a flashlight, and hey, there was no water out there at all. I mean, we were sitting on the bottom. We were in mud. And when the sun came up, you could see uh, rocks. I mean, as far as the eye could see, they looked like mountains out there, but they were rocks. Um, so again, this all plays a role, and then you have all these different effects that occur with the mirroring, angle of light. Um, Geez, I can't even really begin to tell you all the different effects that I see in my videos, but again, this is my own personal research, and I guess I should probably keep it at that. And also losing all my friends, disrespect from family, wife, and all. It's made me give up, dude. I mean, I hate to, give in, but it's just getting too crazy for me. Too much time spent on this and not into my business, which I need to do more of.
Show the time. 15 minutes left on this video. I shouldn't even see that little gap in between these islands because it's a small gap. The guy got out of his boat and walked to the island. Let me just show you how far off the water I am here. Come on, get in focus here. Again, I'm at a low perspective. Look at the guys walking on the shoreline. Check to see if the tide's coming in or out. I think it's going out. Yep. Low tide is at 11:47 a.m. That's for Saturday. You need Sunday. 12:21 is the low tide, and it's a 0.3 low tide at 12:21. And right now it's 10:23 or 10:23. I gotta show my tides here. Zoom back. I have to refocus it now.